Saya, still processing the sudden appearance of his twin sister, asks Pyre if their mother's family intends to back his claim to recover his inheritance. Pyre shakes her head, clarifying that aside from providing him safe transport, the family will not intervene directly in the political matter. Frustrated, Saya questions how he is supposed to reclaim his birthright when his enemies already want him dead, fearing that returning now would be like walking straight into a trap. Standing up to leave, Pyre nonchalantly states that she only followed her given instructions and knows nothing more about their family's overall plans. However, before turning away, she cryptically suggests that her brother should think carefully about whether he has any other hidden advantages he has yet to use. Left to ponder her parting words, a confused Saya initially wonders what hidden card he could possibly have up his sleeve. Suddenly, his eyes widen as a realization hits him. He quickly pulls out the mysterious scroll given to him by the witch, Yin. Saya begins to connect the dots of the prophecy, noting that it instructed him to find the first person he knew, which was Pyre, and to return to where it all began, perfectly matching his upcoming trip to their ancestral homeland to reclaim what is rightfully his. However, he struggles to decipher the final clue regarding a crowned figure at the peak of the stars, wondering if it refers to his mother's influential family, or a different, unknown entity entirely. Overwhelmed by the cryptic puzzle, Saya clutches his head in frustration while Tang Dun watches him with concern. Determined to find the answer, Saya abruptly stands up and orders his sister to turn the ship around, intending to go back and clear things up. Tang Dun steps in, asking if Saya really intends to return to the alleyway. Saya confirms his plan, stating he needs to confront Yin to clarify the final line of the prophecy, believing it holds the ultimate key to solving his current predicament. Tang Dun's expression turns grim, warning his friend that he is going to be disappointed. The massive warrior reveals an unsettling truth, explaining that just minutes after they had left the area, he had looked back down the street only to find that the enigmatic woman and her shop had completely vanished without a trace. Tang Dun finishes by stating it was as if they had never existed in this world, leaving Saya reeling in absolute shock at the revelation. Meanwhile, on the transport ship, a fierce sparring match begins in the reinforced training room, marked by a massive, blinding clash of cyan and golden-orange energy. Pushing his limits, the elf prodigy Aonong Turing unleashes a relentless barrage of powerful cyan energy beams at his high-level opponent. Despite the fierce and rapid assault, Hai Jidao remains completely unfazed, casually deflecting the intense energy blasts using only his sword. Watching from the sidelines, Lu Sheng observes the explosive clash and silently praises the elf's excellent combat talent. Analyzing the fight, he notes that Aonong Turing's immortal level status is genuinely impressive. He deduces that the unique green energy the elf controls is likely tied to a powerful law based on simulation and copying. He mentally compares the elf's abilities to a certain comic book superhero from his past life on Earth, noting the similarities in how both use green energy and rely heavily on their imagination to manifest constructs and boost their combat power. Deciding the demonstration has gone on long enough, Hai Jidao tightly grips the hilt of his weapon as intense golden energy flares around him, firmly declaring an end to the exchange. With a swift, powerful swing, Hai Jidao unleashes a devastating wave of energy that effortlessly cuts through Aonong Turing's cyan attacks. The elf prodigy cries out in shock as the overwhelming force easily breaks through his defenses. Staring at the glowing blade now halted inches from his face, a humbled Aonong Turing concedes defeat. He admits that the power gap between them is simply too vast, confessing he couldn't even manage to get close to the level 13 expert. Sheathing his sword, Hai Jidao reassures the young prodigy that he will bridge that gap in time. He offers constructive advice, suggesting that the elf should abandon his flashy, superficial tricks and focus his training specifically on refining his strongest core techniques to significantly boost his overall combat power. Grateful for the guidance, Aonong Turing places a hand over his chest and respectfully thanks Hai Jidao, acknowledging that he had been considering that very approach and has learned a great deal from the sparring match. Stepping forward, Lu Sheng casually asks Hai Jidao if the experienced warrior was able to identify the specific type of law that the elf manipulates. Pondering the question, Hai Jidao explains that many laws possess highly complex traits that defy simple summaries, He admits he can only roughly sense the nature of Aonong Turing's power but lacks the ability to describe it with absolute precision. Aonong Turing asks Haiji Dao for his honest assessment, wondering if the instructor considers his specific law to be powerful. Haiji Dao explains that since laws form the fundamental operating basis of the universe, no law is inherently weak. Instead, a law's true strength is entirely determined by how deeply a warrior masters and develops it. To illustrate his point, Haiji Dao uses the concept of planetary gravity. He explains that gravity is not just a simple force but a universal physical law capable of causing massive destruction or sustaining a stable environment, depending entirely on how it is applied. Still curious, Aonong Turing presses further, asking whose law is ultimately stronger between himself and the instructor. Internally, Haiji Dao acknowledges the harsh truth that laws definitely have distinct tiers of power, and the absolute gap between them can be massive. As Lu Sheng steps forward to take his turn, Haiji Dao mentally notes that Lu Sheng's law of thunder is naturally an extremely dominant and powerful law. By comparison, he knows the elf's green law suffers from a crushing natural disadvantage, but he chooses to keep this to himself to avoid completely demoralizing the young prodigy. Shifting his focus, Haiji Dao readies his stance and asks Lu Sheng if they should begin their match. With his eyes glowing a fierce golden yellow, Lu Sheng calmly confirms that he is ready. As intense golden and fiery energy erupts around him, Lu Sheng strategizes internally. He reminds himself that this is merely a sparring match, not a fight to the death. He reflects on his 7 emotions blade technique, which fuses 2 emotional laws and is lethal enough to easily slaughter level 13 beasts. Lu Sheng decides against using his strongest attacks, fearing that unleashing them would accidentally kill the instructor. Taking a horizontal floating stance across the room from his opponent, he resolves to carefully hold back and measure the output of his lesser techniques, hoping that will be sufficient for the spar. Crackling with golden lightning, Lu Sheng confidently warns the older warrior to be careful and advises him to stop the match immediately if the pressure becomes too much to handle. Gripping his sword as his purple aura flares, Haiji Dao is initially insulted by the warning. He silently scoffs at Lu Sheng's arrogance, finding it ridiculous that he, the designated main instructor, is being told to watch his back by a student. However, Haiji Dao's annoyance quickly fades into nervous apprehension as he breaks a cold sweat. He suddenly recalls that Lu Sheng isn't just a talented rookie like Aonong Turing but a genuine, battle-hardened expert who has successfully killed a level 13 general class beast. Realizing the true threat he faces, Haiji Dao decides to take the sparring match seriously. He powers up, gathering a dense, swirling aura of dark purple energy around his legs as he prepares his assault. Seeing his opponent finally unleash his power, Lu Sheng's eyes glow with an intense golden light as he mentally notes that the fight is finally about to get interesting. Lu Sheng responds by unleashing his own overwhelming aura. The intense energy burns away his upper garments, revealing a glowing, sun-like crest on his chest as volatile white and golden flames whip wildly around his muscular physique. Wasting no time, Haiji Dao lunges forward, his purple energy flaring aggressively as he closes the distance. He swings his blade with tremendous force, executing a devastating, high-level technique designed for absolute slaughter. The strike manifests as a colossal, blinding construct of destructive purple energy that illuminates the entire reinforced training room. The massive energy beam crashes directly into Lu Sheng, completely engulfing him in a point-blank explosion. However, as the destructive energy begins to dissipate, Lu Sheng is entirely unharmed, wearing a confident, mocking smirk. Haiji Dao's confidence shatters into pure shock. He stares in disbelief, unable to comprehend how his ultimate attack failed to inflict even a single scratch on the younger warrior. Standing tall amidst the fading remnants of the attack, Lu Sheng's dominant golden aura flares even brighter, showcasing the terrifying durability of his supreme physique. Instantly going on the offensive, Lu Sheng rockets high into the air, surrounded by a chaotic, swirling vortex of multicolored elemental energies, blending fire, lightning, and pure cosmic power. Drawing his glowing fist back, Lu Sheng prepares his counterattack, channeling the profound laws of his 4 seasons martial arts technique into a single, concentrated strike. He descends upon Haiji Dao like a blazing meteor, bringing down his fist. Staring up at the overwhelming godlike display of power about to crush him, a terrified Haiji Dao loses all of his previous composure, screaming in sheer panic as the devastating attack closes in.